Howdy, and welcome back to the Dice Cast. We've got Brendan Melnick joining us tonight, the Lord of Death, again not playing a Death Army on the channel. He's on Destruction
I
tonight.
don't think I'm ever going to do it now.
Well, it's become a thing now.
Yeah, I think
so you have to avoid it.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we've got kind of a throwback to the beginning of 3rd edition. This would have been the...
Oh, yes. This is a very good episode.
Right.
About a year ago.
Right. It would have been cutting edge then. Now it's kind of nice to revisit that with a new set of eyes, right?
Sure.
So we're playing Stormcast against Kruleboyz, and things have changed. Things have evolved over the past year. In this
Your
edition.
army is more points.
Sure. Many more points.
Mine is not changed.
Right. Mine now gives up a bunch of victory points if you kill some things. But I've also got the Incarnate, so it's a new wrinkle on what would have been a very classic Dominion matchup. Right?
Yeah.
Let's get into the list.
Cool.
So my list tonight is Orc Warclan's Kruleboyz sub-faction with the Big Yellerz sub-faction, the grand strategy of Hold the Line, so we'll see how that shakes out. A Snatchaboss on Sludge-Raker Beast is my general, with the super sneaky command trait to teleport a Kruleboyz unit somewhere. The Mork's Eye Pebble for some shooting defense, which I think I'm going to need. A Fasten to get a little bit of extra mobility over the course of the game. A Breakaboss on Trog. A Swamp Kala Shaman with the Nasty Hex. Swamp Kala Shaman with the Choking Mist. 2 units of 20 Gut Rippers. A unit of 9 Boltboyz. 20 Shooters. And Rippa Snarlfang. Everything's in the battle regiment except for the Breakaboss. So we'll see how this goes.
This is a little bit of a throwback to how I started 3rd edition. This is a Hammers of Sigmar Stormcast Eternals list. I've got a Lord Imperatant and a Lord Relictor as my leaders. The Imperatant has the Arcane Tome with Thundershock to debuff wound rolls, and the Relictor has Translocate and High Priest, so he's going to be a very reliable teleporter. I've got a unit of 5 Liberators, 2 units of 5 Vindictors, and then 6 Long Strike Crossbows, which are really the damage output, obviously, in the list. 1 Stormstrike Chariot that I can use to get up and pin things. And then I've got Kronspine mixed in. He's bonded to the Relictor as my general. And so I think that monster component is going to provide me some good punch. Also, as another hammer, I've got 3 Annihilators that are going to be in the skies with the Grand Hammers. When they come down, they can do a bunch of damage. But I've got a bunch of damage to do. That Kruleboyz list has 160-some wounds. There's a lot for me to punch through. I've got less than half the wounds, so I'm going to have to do a lot of work tonight. So we both got 2 drops here, so this priority roll is going to be really consequential. We're both incentivized to get this first drop here. Good luck, Brendan.
Yeah, you too. Oh boy.
2 to 1.
Oh!
You will have the choice of who's going to drop first.
I'm going to make it so that I deploy first.
Okay, makes sense.
I know it's a
Hot take.
bold strategy.
Bold choice, yeah. Tonight we're going to be playing First Blood. First Blood's an interesting battle plan. It's a very straight up battle plan. You deploy in the corners, relatively small deployment areas, 3 objectives in the middle. Standard scoring on this one, hold 1, hold 2, hold more, and then 2 points for your battle tactic. The wrinkle on this one is that the second player to go in each round designates one of the objectives to be the vantage point, and the person who controls that objective at the start of the next battle round gets an extra command point to use for that round. So if you can guarantee that you're going to be controlling one of the objectives and you're going second, you can get that extra benefit and help to leverage going second that way, which is always a nice mechanic in this game.
not too much I have in terms of choice. The being stuck right in the corner is a little bit tough for my Boltboyz. So there's nowhere that I could really put my Boltboyz to threaten Nick's army effectively and remain at range. So put it clumped together to kind of see what he was going to do. I'd have choice on deployment. Obviously you can't drop the Incarnate in one turn, so I got that going for me. But yeah, it's just a lot of models, and we'll see what I can do.
My deployment here, I understood that Brendan was going to get first choice, and he's got Super Sneaky, so he's always got the option of Super Sneaking the Boltboyz up into place and then blasting away with them. That's definitely a concern for me, and as such, I kept my Raptors up in the sky. The Annihilators are always up in the sky. There's no real choice there. And so then it was just a matter of getting some screens in place, making sure that the area behind me was pretty well measured off, and then getting my 2 threats out on the 2 flanks. So depending on where that Super Sneaky comes down, I can start to do some work over there. Yeah. So before choosing turn order, you'll get to choose turn order anyway, but before choosing turn order, you have your Super Sneaky to do.
I do have Super Sneaky, and then I also have my dirty tricks that I have to declare. So I'm going to Super Sneaky my Breakaboss.
Sure. And then it's your choice who goes first here.
Well, before that, covered in mud.
Sure.
I'm going to roll 3 dice. For every 4 up, I can pick a unit that if they're in cover, you have no line of sight to them. They can't be targeted. Alright, 2 units.
Okay.
I'm going to pick the Boltboyz. I know you're shocked.
Makes sense.
And the Shaman that is going to babysit them all game.
Yeah. They're going to be buddies for a while.
Yeah. I think I'm going to take it.
Okay, makes sense.
Good luck.
Good luck, Brendan. So we will have Kruleboyz going into the top of round 1. You're going to get 2 command points, and I will have 3.
I'm going to, for my heroic action on the Breakaboss, try and get an extra command point. I do.
You got it. I'm going to go for an extra command point on my Lord Relitor, my general, and I failed it.
Okay. In terms of battle tactic, we'll go aggressive expansion, the one that my Breakaboss is on, and then the one in the middle there.
Cool.
So over to hero phase proper. So we are going to do some things that you don't normally see with Kruleboyz, and we're actually going to cast. The Shaman up here is going to give these guys their poison darts, as one does.
Makes sense.
Just in case I got to get some Overwatches going or Unleash Hells. And then this Swamp Call Shaman down here is going to cast Summon Boggy Miss. It casts on a 7.
Okay.
Not a 7.
Okay. I don't have any unbinds in range, but won't go off.
That's that. Time to move.
With that, I am going to redeploy my Liberators. And the reason for the redeploy here might seem a little bit strange, but I'm pushing out the screen so that you can't tag the Chariot into combat here. So, 5-inch redeploy.
The goal here was just to kind of push up and reduce the number of areas where you can come down. It's very tough because we do have a very similar bit of speed in terms of what our base armies do, but you have more range in your your long strikes, and you do have more speed in the form of your Incarnate and your Chariot. So I'm kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place, and that I do need to push out and go grab you. Now, the good thing is I have my battle tactic locked up, so it's all gravy from here.
Sure.
So, on to shooting. I don't have any this turn because the shooters ran and the Boltboyz moved, meaning that their range is 15, and obviously nothing is in range. So we're going to go right to charges. Alright, so we're going to charge with the Breakaboss. Not Snake Eyes.
Yeah, in on a 4.
End of the charge phase, no monstrous actions. Start of the combat phase. I get to pull on my chains. So I'm going to take D3 mortal wounds, and for each mortal wound suffered, I add 2 to my attacks characteristics for the Ironbound clubs.
Sure.
So I take 2. So that means I'm +4 to my attacks characteristic, which seems good.
Should be pretty good.
We're going to spend his free command points to all-out attack.
I'm going to spend here for all-out defense.
Alright, so we're going to get started then. So the guy on top with his Bidden Goad is 2s and 3s. So that's going to be 4 mortal wounds, please.
Sure.
With 3 hits. And then 2 at no rend.
2 at no rend. These are going to be 3-ups.
Okay.
Made both of those.
Cool. So 4 damage total. Now the Ironbound clubs, they don't have the Kruleboyz do extra mortal wounds, so we're looking at 2s and 3s and just hoping to do some damage. So that's 8 hits. 5 at Ren 2, please.
5 at Ren 2. The base 4-up here gets +1 for the shields, and then another +1 for the all-out defense. So they're going to be on 4-ups against that Ren 2. And I'm going to make 2 of those.
It's a total of 9 damage.
That is certainly a dead unit. 2 of them are going to have a chance to explode on your Breakaboss here.
No.
So 4 dice, looking for 6s, and going to get 1 of them. So at the end of that combat phase, he will take 1 wound.
Okay. So, not a bad turn, not a great one. Hold 1, hold 2, hold more. Got my battle tactic for 5.
Sure.
Bottom of 1.
Sounds good. For my battle tactic here, bottom 1, I am going to take Conquer on this currently unheld objective here.
Undefended.
Undefended. And then I am going to, for my heroic action, try to get an extra command point with my Lord Relictor. And he does with a 6.
Cool. I'm going to try and heal my Breakaboss. He's Bravery 7. 8.
For hero phase proper, I've got 2 things I'd like to do here. The Lord Imperatant is going to, with the Arcane Tome, going to attempt to cast Thundershock. And that goes off on a 9.
I'll allow it.
And that is going to go over here, and the only enemy unit that it's going to target is your Breakaboss. So on a 3-up, you will be -1 to wound. The Lord Relictor then is going to attempt a Translocate Prayer, and he's got 2 cracks at this. He does have High Priest, so he's got a reroll, but he gets it with a 4. So he is going to translocate this unit of Vindictors. And with that done, we can get into movement. At the end of the movement phase, then, I'm going to bring down my Vanguard-Raptors. I am going to leave the Annihilators in the sky, but the water is now fine for the Vanguard-Raptors.
Disagree.
The water is foul and stagnant for the Vanguard-Raptors. My movement phase here was helped out by getting that Translocate to get my Vindictors into place. Those Vindictors are going to die horribly, but they are going to die for the cause. So they're over there taking that objective, getting that Conquer. I've lined up my Vanguard-Raptors so that they're going to get some really meaningful shots into the Sludge-Raker and probably not take it off with just this shooting phase because I know Brendan does have the Mork's Eye Pebble available. But if I can use that once per game artifact from him and throw some damage into it that I can potentially accumulate or build on later, I'm going to feel pretty good about that. So the Chariot I didn't move in order to not provide a redeploy from the Breakaboss boss because it's important that he stays there. Just moved my heroes up then to get into a more supporting role. With that, we can move it into the shooting phase. I'm going to shoot first with my Lord Imperitant's Stormcaller Baton, and this is going to go into the Breakaboss.
Alright. I'm going to use my once per battle artifacts.
The Mork's Eye Pebble on the Sludge-Raker.
So that hopefully this goes less bad.
Makes sense. So I've got the Stormcaller Baton. It's D6 shots going into the Breakaboss, and it's 3 shots, 3s and 3s. I've got 3 hits and just 2 wounds at -1.
5s. 1.
Okay, 1 damage. I then have the really meaningful shooting, and that's going to be the
From the Incarnate.
Vanguard. Yes. Oh, if that thing could shoot too. The Vanguard-Raptors, and I am going to spend for all-out attack here, and they're going to put their attacks into the Sludge-Raker.
I'm going to spend one of my command points, bring me down to 2, to all-out defense the Sludge-Raker.
Makes sense. So I've got 12 attacks from the Raptors. Everybody knows and loves their profile. These are going to be 2s and 2s with the all-out attack. And 6s, of course, are mortal wounds.
Okay.
So 3 6s, that's 4 6s, excuse me, 8 mortal wounds. But 3 1s. And then I've got 3 at -2.
Okay, so 4 up base, brings it down to a 3 up, back to a 5 up. All of them get through.
Okay, so that's a total of 14 damage. You've got your 5-up ward from Mork's Eye Pebble. This unit seems good.
Yeah. Good unit is good.
Good unit is good.
Alright.
No, pretty good.
2, 4, 6, 8. Yeah, can't complain about that.
Yeah, respectable output from the Mork's Eye Pebble there. That's it for my shooting. We can get into the charge phase. I'm going to charge first here with the Incarnate. It's got a pretty long charge into those shooters. It's got 7. It does get native rerolls. 7 isn't quite enough, but with the native rerolls from its aura, I'm going to attempt that again, and it gets there on a 9. One other charge to attempt then is the Stormstrike Chariot. And I want a big number here because it does get effectively overcharged. So the charge distance I roll matters. And 3 is just not enough to get there. So I am going to spend from the Lord Imperatant his free once per turn command ability to get it reroll on that charge. And I'm going to get there on a 7. So with that, I've got 7 dice on 4s up. I'm going to do mortal wounds here. That is going to be 2 mortal wounds.
Okay. Halfway there.
Alright, I'll take it. I am going to stomp on the goblins.
No.
So I'm 2 up. D3 mortal wounds for 3.
3 goblins.
I'll take it.
Okay.
Alright, then start of the combat phase. You've got the option to juice up your Breakaboss.
Oh boy. I don't think I want to.
Okay.
I
Yeah, makes sense. Don't want to have him scooped here by, especially if you roll that 3, then it becomes a relatively easy task to take him down. So I'm going to activate first here with the Chariot.
I will spend a point to all-out defense.
Okay. You'll have 1 command point left after the all-out defense here. So first up, we've got the Stormstrike Axe. These are going to be on 3s and 3s. 2 hits. And 2 wounds at -1.
Back to 4s. Both get through.
1 damage.
Alright.
And then the Tempestuous Spear, 3s and 3s as well. Just 1 hit and 1 wound at -2.
5s.
2 damage there.
No.
And then the Razor's Beaks and Claws, 3s and 3s. That is going to be 2 at -2.
I gotta make 1 or I'm dead.
Oh, big.
Yeah.
Now, I don't think his swing back would have been too bad because the Chariot would have been -1 to hit from the charge and -1 to wound from the spell. So I think it would have probably been okay for me, but obviously this is much better this way.
I would have liked the turn of a tie-up.
Right.
Alright, so we'll pile in with my goblins,
Sure.
who are very scary.
Fortunately, this is the Shootas, but this is the interesting thing about the Incarnate, is that you don't need to do a lot of damage to it to suddenly bracket it. I am going to all-out defense here.
Ooh, shouldn't be allowed.
And that's coming from my Relictor. That's the only unit that can issue to the Incarnate.
So 9 regular goblins, 1 net. So the net is 3 attacks, 4s and 5s. All miss. And then the 9 regular guys, who are all going to do a bunch of damage. 5s and 5s. 2 hits. 1. No minuses.
One at no rend with the all-out defense is going to be a 3-up, and I'll make it. So the all-out defense there, completely wasted. I will then activate the Kronspine into the goblins. Am I -1 to hit because of the nets?
You are -1 to hit because of the nets.
Okay, so I've got 8 attacks here. These are going to be 4s and 3s. Pretty good hit roll overall. Got 4 of them. And 3 at -2.
So I am a 6-up save. I get +1 because there's enough of me, which puts me at a 5, which means...
So that's 6 dead goblins. And then the Tearing Fangs, these are going to be on 4s and 2s. Just 2 hits. 2s to wound. Both of them wound at -3. That's going to be another 8 dead goblins.
Ugh.
Crucially, not the entire unit. Is the leader still alive there?
No, but my general's over here.
Okay. So, pretty good turn for me. Pretty good, not gonna lie. The combat with the chariot went about as well as I could have hoped. It was just enough, right? It was exactly what I needed. And then the Raptors just chunked a big damage into the Sludge-Raker, even with the Mork's-Eye Pebble. They're in a position where they don't have a lot of counter swing into them if Brendan does get this top of 2. And if I get the top of 2, they're obviously just going to start machine gunning. The Incarnate leaving those 3 goblins alive is pretty impactful, particularly if I get the turn. That puts me in a position where I may need to take them off with some shooting or something of that nature so that I can free up the Incarnate to make a charge. But I'll be happy to deal with that situation if it's my turn to deal with it.
Fair enough.
So we then have...
Let's spend my last point to keep my goblins alive.
Makes sense. For scoring in turn 1 then, I hold 1, I hold 2, I hold more, and I completed my battle tactic for a total of 5. And we'll have a priority roll for round 2.
Yep.
Oh,
And your 6 beats my 1 pretty easily.
Yeah.
You've got the option here.
I'm going to take it.
Yeah, makes sense.
I think I have to.
We're gonna have a very big and exciting turn. A turn that you have not seen the likes of probably ever.
Okay. Going second here, I'm going to pick the upper right objective to be the vantage point.
We're gonna go conquer on the objective that we keep trading back and forth.
Makes sense.
I'm going to heroic action try and heal my Snatchaboss since you killed my other hero. 6 does it. He is bravery 6
Okay.
for 3.
For 3.
Big.
He's right as rain.
Your heroic action, Nick.
For my heroic action, I'm going to try to get an extra command point with the Imperatant. With the Relictor. And I failed to do so. So I'm going to be at 2 command points to your 3. 3 to your 2.
I am going to burn my once per game Fasten, so I get to make a free hero phase move.
Sure.
I am going to hand out the extra juice to these guys here.
Sure.
Oh, such a tough choice. I'm going to give them the extra juice as well.
Okay.
So then we are going to move on to the movement phase. So, moved up. Right now, tied on the objective I'm trying to conquer, so I gotta try and land this objective, land this charge. I got enough guys towed in on the middle objective to get the hold more, assuming I can land my battle tactic. With the Snatchaboss, if I land a long enough charge, that'll put me effectively out of range of the long strikes, which would be nice. And far enough away from the Incarnate where he's really going to have to spend some time and energy to go over and get me. So what I'm hoping is going to happen here in my shooting phase is I'm going to do enough damage to put him into the danger zone where he's going to be a lower level and is going to have to start making some more aggressive decisions.
Makes sense. I am going to all-out defense here from my Relictor in the shooting. It won't help against the mortal wounds, but it will hopefully help against some of that shooting and force an engagement of another kind. So it's not just a free level here.
Sure. So this is going to be 10 attacks, 2s and 3s, 5s and 6s to hit, or 2 mortal wounds. Cool. So that is going to be 8 mortal wounds, please.
Okay.
And then 4 saves at Rend 1, please.
4 saves at Rend 1, canceled by the all-out defense. These are going to be 4-ups. And I will casually make 3 of them. Take
Total
2
of
more
10.
damage.
Yep.
Okay, 10 damage taken. So that's the number I'll need to beat on his roll.
And we cannot forget the mighty Shooters.
Yeah, super important shooting here.
So there's 2 of them that have bows.
Really hoping to tick off another wound or so and make this an average fail for me instead of an average pass.
2 attacks, 5s and 5s. 1 hit. Oh, 2 hits. 2 hits. 1 wound.
Okay, I still have the all-out defense up, so this is a 3, and I'll make that one.
Tragic. So then over to charges. Alright, but we will start with the Snatchaboss.
Okay.
11.
11, that'll do it.
Alright, so I'm going to charge with my Gut Rippers.
Sure.
6.
Yeah. I think this is a needed charge. You need to make sure that the Incarnate de-levels. If he doesn't de-level this turn, it gets real bad.
End of the charge phase. Monstrous actions. I am going to try and stomp on your Vindictors.
Sure.
2 mortal wounds, please.
Okay. They do have the Hammers of Sigmar ward now that they're close to this objective, but they'll take both of those. 1 dead Vindictor, and it's going to be this one. He's going to try to explode, so on 6s, no mortal wounds back.
Alright, yours?
I'm going to stomp the shooters here, trying to pull the Nettas out of that unit. So on a 2-up, yes, 4, 3 mortal wounds. That's really big, because that removes that last Netta from that unit.
Alright, got a couple of decisions to make here. Now obviously the Incarnate doesn't table until the end of your stuff, so I'm going to be taking the full brunt of that.
Yep.
We're going to go with the Sludge-Raker boss. We're going to take whatever the hit is and just go with that.
It may be a vain effort here, but I am going to all-out defense on the Vindictors, try to keep them alive here.
It makes sense to me. Right, got a lot of different profiles here. The only one that doesn't have the poison is the tail attack.
Sure.
You know, the rare mount that does have all this. So I get +1 to the mortal wounds caused by my venom encrusted weapons because the Snatchaboss is excellent. So the grappling hook, 3s and 3s. So that is going to be 4 mortal wounds, please.
Sure.
And then 1 at Rend 1.
The one at Rend 1 is a 3-up, and I passed that. The 4 mortal wounds, I've got 6-ups, and I'm going to take all those. That's 2 dead so far.
Okay. 6 grasping talons. These are 3s and 3s. No mortals.
Oof. 2 at rend 1, please.
2 at rend 1 are 3s. And I'm going to fail both those.
2 damage each.
2 damage each. That is 4 damage, 6 up ward, and they are going to die. One of those is in range for the mortals. They're thunder strikes, so they get an extra dice. 2 mortal wounds back to the Snatchaboss. I'll take that. Those are technically at the end of the phase, but doesn't matter on the sequencing here. Then obviously I will go with the Incarnate. It's still at level 2. He's going to put all of his attacks into the Gut-Rippers.
Makes sense to me.
These are going to be 3s and 3s with the claws.
What's all the rend we got?
2 and 3.
We'll spend a point to all defense here.
Sure. Try to keep a few more of them alive.
Yeah.
So we've got 8 attacks, 3s and 3s with the claws.
There's a 2 in there.
That is going to be 5 at -2.
Okay. Puts me at a 6 up. None.
2 damage each there.
Okay.
And then the bites, 3s and 2s here, 2 hits. And no wounds.
Wow.
Level 1s. Definitely makes that the right decision to charge those in.
Yeah. So we'll pile in then with my Gut-Rippers. Alright, so I got 25 attacks coming in with my Gut-Rippers. The goal here is to just max you out at a dice roll that cannot be succeeded on.
Yeah. Need 8 more damage for that.
Well, with 5s doing mortal wounds, I like my odds. Alright. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 more.
Yeah,
wounds,
you got
please.
there. So the Incarnate will definitely de-level to level 1 at the end of this turn. That's all we got going for combats.
Yeah. And we have Battle Shock. I lost 5. I'm base Bravery 5, but I have a banner. Puts me at Bravery 6. I do have 1 command point, but I really want to save it for next turn.
Sure.
Because I potentially am going to need 2 all-out defenses. So, let's see here. 4. I lose 3. Exciting turn in terms of scoring for my stuff. Hold 1, hold 2, hold more. Got my battle tactic, which was Conquer. So we have another 5 points headed my way.
Yeah, very nice. And then we'll go into the bottom of round 2 for Stormcast. Each get a command point here. And this is going to be a little bit of a tricky one. I'm already getting a little bit lean on battle tactics because there's not a lot of objectives to hold on the board, and that center objective is just going to be a big problem for me to deal with. My battle tactic here is going to be Bring It Down. That and Slay the Warlord here are functionally equivalent, so I'll pick Bring It Down on your Warlord.
Makes sense to me.
And then for my heroic action, I'm going to try to get an extra command point with my Relictor. And I do on a 6.
I'm going to try and heal my Snatchaboss. Again, Bravery 6, so with an 8, so no dice.
Okay. Into the hero phase proper then. First thing I'm going to do is attempt to translocate with the Lord Relictor. Needs a 2-up and gets to reroll, gets it on a 6, and he's going to teleport himself. The Imperatant is then going to try to cast Mystic Shield, and going to get that on an 8. And he's going to put that on this unit of Vindictors that he's near, so they're going to get +1 to save. And then the last thing I'm going to do in my hero phase is I'm going to go ahead and spend a command point for the Thunderbolt Volley Holy Command. And we're going to be doing some shooting here with the Vanguard-Raptors. I'm going to split my fire here with the Raptors in the hero phase shooting. I'm going to put 4 shots at the Shaman with Pot Drop there, and then the rest of the shots, the other 8, into the unit of Gut Rippers that are currently locked in with the Incarnate. So we'll do that Shaman first, hitting on 3s. 4 mortal wounds, and then wounding on 2s. Just 1 at -2.
I mean, that kills him.
Okay, perfect. Perfect split, and then 8 shots into the Gut Rippers. That is going to be 4 mortal wounds.
Okay.
and a total of 4 at -2.
No save.
Okay, so pretty good. And with those things done, we can get into the movement phase here. At the end of the movement phase, then, the Annihilators are going to make their appearance on the field. So the Annihilators get to come down here outside of 7 inches because of the Lord Imperatant giving that extra boost from the heavens. In my movement phase here, I brought the Chariot up so that I've got an attempt at a charge on the Sludge-Raker, and maybe if I can't make that, I'll still be able to get into those Rippa Snarl things because they are pretty annoying. I do have 1 unit of Vindictors back still, and their job right now is to stay alive because I chose Hold the Line, and they are the line. So they are very bravely going to hide in the back corner. But then the rest of the movement was dictated by the range of the Boltboyz, the Bolt Skewer boys, and I just kept my Raptors outside of their range, and the Raptors' job now is just to remove bodies so I can start to equalize on that front. When the Annihilators come down, they're going to do some mortal wounds within 10 inches. So they've got 3 units within 10 inches when they come down. That's going to be the Boltboyz on a 3-up, D3 mortal wounds. Yes, for D3, for 3. And then the Gut-Rippas, no on a 2. And then the Snatchaboss, no on a 2.
I don't love it, but I don't hate it.
We then have some shooting to do. My only shooting here is with the Raptors, which I'm fine with that being my only shooting. So the Vanguard-Raptors are going to, I'm going to issue all-out attack to them.
Makes sense to me.
And then they are going to do just a little bit of shot splitting here. I'm going to throw 3 shots into the small unit of Gut-Rippas, and then the other 9 shots into that big unit.
Okay.
So the 3 shots into the close unit on 2s and 2s. That's 3 hits. And just 2 wounds at -2.
Okay, so 2 guys die.
Okay. And then into the big unit, 9 shots. Also 2s and 2s. That is going to be 4 mortal wounds.
Yep.
And 6 at -2.
So 8 guys die.
And the reason I split the shots there is that so that I can a little bit more comfortably not activate with the Incarnate first, because I really don't want to lose it to this handful of Gut-Rippas.
Be very embarrassing.
It would be. But I need to activate first elsewhere because of how these combats are going to go down depending on these charge rolls. So we can get into the charge phase then. I'm going to charge first with the Storm Strike Chariot. Need a big roll, need a 9 to get into the Sludge-Raker. And an 8 will not do it, but I think an 8 may get him into the Rippa's Snarl things. He's going to go into the Rippa's Snarl things right up over here onto the terrain. So he's got the chance to do some mortal wounds here. 8 dice on 4-ups. Hopefully make short work of this unit. That is going to be 3 mortal wounds.
Okay.
The next charge then is going to be with the Grand Slammers. Need a 7 here, and they have a native reroll, so I'll get 2 cracks at a 7. 6 does not do it. 7.
Oh!
Whoa.
I saw the 1.
Whoa. So they are coming in on 7.
Oh.
So on the charge, they got the 7. They're rolling 7 dice. They have the Ogre charge 2 on 4-ups and 3 mortal wounds. And that's going to be a total of 3 mortal wounds.
Okay, 4 to go.
We do have some monstrous actions to do at the end of the charge phase then. The Kronspine is going to stomp on the Gut-Rippas. Failed it on a 2. Or gets it on a 2. And does 2 mortal wounds. Okay. And then it's your monstrous action.
I'm going to roar. No, you don't have any command points. I'm going to step on you.
Sure.
I do. For 2.
Okay, 2 mortal wounds. They are close enough to the objective here to get 6-ups. And so they're going to pass one of those, take 1 damage. I'm then going to activate first in the combat phase with the Annihilators and get them in.
Okay, I'll spend the points all-out defense here, because... Duh.
Sure. They are going to make their attacks, the leader there in front. I've got 10 attacks here. These are going to be 3s and 2s. Ooh. Oh. 5 misses. 2s to wound. 4 at -2.
Alright, so these are 5s. They're 3 each, right?
Yep.
Gotta make 3 of them.
Okay. Oh, he made 2. Oh, man. Big swings on that roll. Big swings. Because if I don't kill him there, I don't get the objective, and I don't get the battle tactic.
Yeah, bummer. Alright, I'm gonna go home run hitting, and we're gonna activate with my three little dudes.
Makes sense.
Just 3 little guys.
Try to chip off the crown spine.
Yep. There's still mortal wounds on 5s, so that is 4s and 4s. 5s are... Alright, so that's 3 mortal wounds, and that's it.
Okay, 3 mortal wounds. That means if I roll 3 1s, he will de-level and die at the end of the turn. So 3 damage on the crown
That would
spine.
be terrible.
My next activation then is going to be with the chariot into the Rippa's Snarl Fangs.
You won't.
Bet I won't.
Yeah. Bet.
I've got 2 attacks with 3 attacks rather with the Storm Strike Axe. These are 3s and 3s. 3 hits and 2 wounds at -1.
Well, I know this War Scroll very well. I definitely am not looking it up. So 5-ups normally, so 6s. Alright, 1.
Okay, 1 damage there. The spear, 3s and 3s. 2 hits and 2 wounds at -2.
No saves.
And they're 2 damage each. Champion of the chariot. And then the only remaining activation is going to be the Crown Spine. It's at level 1 right now. So it's going to have 7 attacks with the claws. They're going to be 3s and 3s. 4 hits. And just 2 wounds at -2.
That's it.
So that's 2 damage each. And then the bites, just 2 of them, 3s and 2s. Just 1 hit. And a wound at -3, 4 damage there. Just enough. 1 more miss there would have been really consequential. So, I mean, big swing and turn there. There were a couple dice rolls that just barely got there.
Mm-hmm.
The Annihilator charge, getting there on a 7, obviously huge. The Raptors doing a lot of work, and then the Crown Spine with its last attack, cleaning off that last one. These are real good things for me.
Yep. So, Battle Shock phase, I'm going to spend my points, my last points, to keep my unit of Gut Rippers here in business.
You did lose a Boltboy.
I did. And Boltboyz are very brave. Extremely brave, I would put it. They're bravery 5. 4. Alright,
Okay,
so we're good.
they're fine. So, I mean, it went as well as I could hope for a turn.
Well, you still have a dice roll.
I still have a dice roll for the Incarnate, and that could turn this all south very, very quickly. So he has taken 3 damage, and his rule is that on 3 dice, I need to beat that value, or he is going to de-level. So with 3 wounds taken, I have to beat the 3 on 3 dice. It's an unlikely scenario, but if I do catch that 3 here, it's going to be real ugly.
Very different game. Oh, darn it.
I'm fine. At 12. So he will stay around on level 1. And for my victory points there, I'm going to hold 1, hold 2, hold more, get an extra 2, and I will be at 10 as well. I killed a monster, so I'm actually going to kick up to 11.
Alright, we have a priority roll here, which...
Yeah.
If
Pretty consequential one.
If you win, is probably going to put me in an impossible position, and if I win, life remains difficult, but less so.
Sure.
Oh, alright.
Oh, you're 6 to my 5. You cling to life.
I'm required by federal law to take this.
Absolutely.
It's not great.
It's not great. I do have the option here to burn an objective, and if I do so, it will make hold 2 or hold more for you almost impossible.
Very difficult.
So going second here, I am going to burn the center objective.
Okay.
And so we'll go into top of round 3 with Kruleboyz taking it. You don't have a general alive, so you're just going to get 1 command point here. I do have my general alive going second, and I control the vantage point, so I'm actually going to be at 4 command points going into this turn with a 1 point lead.
Big. I'm going to try bring it down on the Incarnate.
Sure.
You know, it's a personal vendetta at this point. Or in terms of heroic action, I'll try and get an extra command point from my 1 hero that you've graciously left alive.
Sure.
I get it, because my general's dead, so it's a 2-up.
And then I will attempt the same with my Relictor, and I'll get it on a 5.
Staying in the start of my hero phase here, we're going to spend my lone command points to try and rally back a couple of gut rippers here.
Sure.
I've seen you do it so successfully, so I...
Got 8 dead here.
None.
None.
I did not learn from our experience last game.
Yes. You need to clutch those 6s. A wise man once told me to roll nothing but 6s, and it would go well for me.
Yeah. Alright, over to the hero phase. We're going to give them their poison. Seem to have continued to knock my models, so I'm going to start moving my gut rippers.
Sure. And with that, I am going to issue a redeploy to my Crown Spine.
You've got nothing but command points, so...
That's right. And he's going 6 inches.
Rough.
And that redeploy is really big because it makes this charge significantly harder. Unfortunately, with the Big Yellerz extra range, still going to be in range of all of those gut rippers for their shooting.
Yep. There's not really too much to talk about my movements. It's about scoring the battle tactic. There's not really objectives I can get to. This is probably a game of pride at this point. So shooting, I have 9 attacks because you killed 1 guy. So
And where are these going?
at the Incarnate.
Okay, I will all out defense.
All right, 2s and 3s, 5s and 6s are mortal wounds. That is going to be 6 mortal wounds.
6 mortals straight off the top.
And then 6 saves at -1, please.
6 at -1 with the all-out defense. These are 4-ups. And I am going to fail 4 of them.
That's 8.
8 more damage. He's taken a total of 14 just from that shooting. That's big.
That's big. Okay, over to charges. So that is a 7. So I need to roll a 6.
So you got +1 to charge here with the gut rippers. Needing a 7, so 6 on dice.
7.
7,
So 8.
that's just enough. A bigger one there would have been nice just to get some more attacks in, but you'll probably be able to get them all in anyway.
Monstrous actions, Nick.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and stop on them. You're out of command points, so.
I've got my free one.
D3 mortal wounds for 3.
Okay, pylon time.
Sure.
Alright, so I've got 11, so that's going to be 23 attacks.
No reason to all-out defense here.
How dare you.
The damage you're going to get through is going to be mortal wounds, so.
Just looking for 4 6s. 2. 4s and 4s. Alright, so that is going to be 4 saves, no minuses.
Okay, 4 4-ups. And I'm going to save 3 of those. It's going to take 1 more damage.
So you're going to be at 17.
So there's a chance he comes out of this
So
alive.
you're saying there's a chance.
But first, he's going to take his swings in. He is tabled again. I am going to spend a command point here for all-out attack. So he's going to be on 2s and 3s for the claws. 7 of them. All of them hit. And all but 1 wound. That is 6, 12 damage.
Ouch.
Oh, excuse me. Those were on 2s and 3s. One of those wounds was 2. So only 5 go through. And then the bites. Both hit. Both wound. Those are at -3, and they're 4 damage each, so total 8 damage there.
Wow. That's gonna be the unit at Battle Shock, so I'm just gonna pre-pull him here for you.
Yeah, and as long as we're jumping ahead to Battle Shock, I'm gonna roll for the Incarnate. He just needs a casual 18.
Yeah, 3 6s.
He got 1 6, but not 3. He is dead as well.
Cool.
So that's gonna be your battle tactic.
So hold none.
Sure.
Hold less than 2. Hold not more.
Not more.
Battle tactic. Kill the monster.
Kill
so
the monster.
3 points.
3 points. And that pulls you into the lead. In the top of 3.
Well, I think this is where we should call it then.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's just gonna be so tough to kill those guys.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be trickier than it should be, but
yeah.
Good game, Brendan. I think it's a rough matchup. As you pointed out at the beginning, it's just I've got the better range and the better speed in this list. The Snatchaboss with the Morxi Pebble, he can keep himself alive for 1, but then it forced you to put him out on his own where he was just exposed and vulnerable over there. And then the restriction on the Gut-Rippas, they get into that situation where you can't pull them off of the cover, and they're just not in range of the things.
The Boltboyz.
I get to choose, right, the Boltboyz. I get to choose what they're shooting into then, which is, obviously you don't want your opponent to be in that position.
Yeah, because it's really tough on the mission. Missions where it's a little more central and the fight has to occur in a kind of a more equidistant manner where you're talking about 11 inches primarily.
Sure.
They hold a stronger field presence, right? Like if there was a piece of cover or something that was like over here, more towards an objective, that would have been a time and a unit to super sneaky. I put him covered in mud on an objective and go exactly what you did, and basically ask my opponent, "What are you going to do about this?"
Right.
And it becomes kind of an unpleasant question. Obviously, the Incarnate was on that side, so different things. But in retrospect, I think I should have done 2 things particularly different, both in the same instance. I should have left a Gut-Rippa within 12 inches to try and loud noises your Annihilators.
Sure.
And I should have finest houred my Sludge-Raker boss instead of trying to heal.
Right. And, I thought the Annihilators were going to pretty handily clean him, so I didn't know that the finest hour was going to make that much difference. So
because I was in a similar place. I felt that maybe the extra wound and the all-out defense, if I had managed to roll a 6 or less, so a little bit worse than 50% of the time, was probably potentially hopefully going to do it.
And he was in an ugly spot for wounds because the Annihilators, if they get in, are probably going to average something like 4 to 6 mortal wounds, and you need to get him out of that range or he just dies at that point.
Yeah.
This list felt like it just didn't have enough bodies.
I agree. Mine didn't have enough bodies.
Yours didn't have enough bodies. But the Stormcast list here, I had a couple of screens and they did their job. But then, the rest of my Vindictors were just hiding in the corner, and if you would have had something to threaten them, it would have been an easy denial of Grand Strat. So that would have felt pretty bad. I think in a lot of matchups that would be pretty punishing for this list. Mm-hmm. But I love the threat it has, obviously. Groundspine can get in and do work. The 2 Chargers that can do Ogre Charge and then be pretty useful in combat is obviously great, and Long Strikes do what Long Strikes do.
Sure. Yeah, having the offensive bully components in the Incarnate is a nice change to Fulminators and Dragons. Obviously, Dragons give up quite a few extra points, right? Being monsters, being a priority or a prime target, or priority target. Fulminators also being a priority target. The Incarnate isn't. So the Incarnate's only going to give up the same amount as the Fulminators, but you end up with more flexibility.
Well, and really you're talking about 4 Fulminators, so 4 Fulminators gives up 2 victory points then, right?
Yes, if they're reinforced, correct.
Yeah. The durability of the Incarnate is really nice there. Obviously, The Incarnate probably does more damage than Dragons. The Rend is just it gets there, and it's more durable than Dragons on a per piece basis.
Yeah.
Dragons have the spike potential, they have the range, and they've got just mobility in spades, right? So they bring a lot to the table that the Incarnate doesn't. But as far as an offensive component, he beats them, and the defensive component he beats them. The Fulminators have way more output than the Incarnate can dream of, but then they tend to be relatively squishy on swingback.
Yeah, they're quite a bit more vulnerable. The fact that you're guaranteed to be alive for 2 turns sans like really 3 very specific outlier cases.
Right.
Pretty good.
Yes.
Especially if you have the opportunity to do a little bit of monster hunting to try and level up.
And even if you can't get into a monster to level them up, it forces your opponent to, at all costs, keep a monster away.
As you saw.
Right. So I like that component of the Incarnate. I think it's just an exceptionally strong piece, and it becomes stronger in lists that can, I think that can project range and target some of the things that are going to cause it problems.
Yeah, I definitely agree. It's very good.
How do you feel about Big Yellerz?
I've been working on a lot of Kruleboyz stuff, just kind of in the background. Some of the decisions that I've seen other folks take, where you take like 2x9, I feel like you end up just putting too many points into. I don't want to say like one-trick ponies, but you're really trying to do one very specific thing with it. I think there is some strength in Gut Rippas. They're just a little too costly. But if they came down in points, they'd be the best battle line unit in Big Wa by a country mile.
Right.
And so that becomes kind of a difficult balancing act.
They could maybe come down to, they're 180 right now. They
Yeah.
could maybe come down to 160 or so and still be, still have an argument about some of the other options. But if you go any more aggressively reduced on
They
that,
become so good.
yes, because already you're at 9 points a wound on them. If you go down to 160, you're at 8 points a wound, and you start to get to a threshold where you can flood the board with too many wounds for your opponent to deal with.
Bone splitter territory, and then
Right.
it makes it, why would you take bone splitters, right?
Right, that's really their turf.
There's a number of things from a internal balance perspective to that book that I think needs to be maintained. So it's really tough. The army's so fragile, but when you can do it right, those wins are just devastating.
Sure.
Obviously, we didn't see that here today, but our fight rolled slightly better on my Trog boss there. That's I think it's really a no-brainer in terms of the sub-factions you take.
Yeah, that's one of the places where the internal balance there really falls apart. Right, Big Yellerz is
right. It
the
becomes
choice.
it becomes internal. It becomes battle line Boltboyz, which is really good. If you go with the old red ones instead of the yellow ones, it limits you to, you can't be outside of 12. Well, the things that are really scary can teleport to inside of 12 and do the things that are really scary, and it doesn't matter. And now you also don't have battle line best unit in your book.
And that battle line is so crucial because you have one other choice.
Right, and it's Gut Rippas and they're 180 points.
Right. So your minimum tax for battle line, if you're outside of Big Yellerz, is
A lot.
140 points. Right, just off the top, that's going to be without question locked up.
Yeah, it's tough. I still really think that there's something here in this book to be successful on, and people have demonstrated that at events.
Yeah, Austin, for example, went 4-1 at Adepticon with his Big Yellerz.
Yeah, it's those darn Boltboyz. Yeah. So again, Really well played, Nick.
Thank you.
So,
interesting matchup. I haven't played the Kruleboyz matchup a lot. We've had it on channel a number of times, but I just haven't really lined up against it very much. So, interesting to get the experience there. And it's nice to dip back into Stormcast. I haven't been playing them for a while, so getting a little bit of a toe in there. But I think there was just some disparity in the power level of these two armies right now, obviously.
yeah, one of these is a 3.0 book and the other one is Stormcast.
Right. All right, thanks for playing tonight, Brendan, and thanks everybody for watching, and especially those of you that have stuck around to the end and joined for our commentary as well. That's a big part of why we do these videos and why we enjoy these videos, is being able to talk through these games and share them with you. So if you haven't joined our Discord, we'd encourage you to. The conversation continues there unceasingly, and so we'd love to have you there. And we also have a big channel milestone that we're creeping up on and may have already hit by the time you're watching. We are within spitting distance of 1,000 subscribers, which is just a massive accomplishment for us. We're amazed and dumbfounded at the number of you that have clicked that subscribe button and told us that you think you enjoy our content, and we're grateful for every one of them. Every one of them is a dopamine hit for me. So I'd encourage everybody to click that subscribe button and the like button on the video, and just have nothing but appreciation for all of you that are watching and on this journey with us. So thanks, everybody.